Welcome back. So, as we have been reporting this morning, all attention is set to turn to former President Jacob Zuma's corruption trial from today. Zuma faces charges of fraud, corruption and racketeering related to the 1999 arms procurement deal. The matter is set to be heard virtually, but the former president's foundation, through his legal team, is against the move. Zuma has asked for the trial to be postponed for a week, citing the recent violent disruptions as having prevented him from meeting with his legal team as a key reason for asking for the postponement. He is also set to make a special plea to be acquitted without trial. Now, for more on what we can expect today, we are joined by NPA spokesperson, Advocate Mthunzi Mhaga. Advocate, great to have you. Thanks very, very much for being with us on Morning Live.
Good morning, Leanne, and good morning to your viewers.
So, in light of the latest papers filed by the former president requesting a postponement, what is likely to actually transpire today?
Of importance is the fact that arrangements were made, according to Correctional Services officials, for Mr. Zuma to be part of the hearing. And remember, this is legally permissible in terms of the law to have virtual hearings throughout the court proceedings. So we consider this to be another delaying tactic on his part. But we'll hear what the judge will say, because we'll vigorously argue for the dismissal of that application today.
Yeah. So in your opinion, so as far as the NPA, it will go ahead as planned virtually. However, things may change. This is kind of where we're at right now.
We are at the mercy of the judge, but like I said, we'll vigorously argue for that application for a postponement to be dismissed, because we believe it's a delaying tactic.
Yeah. This is just, of course, as we say, I mean, they also expected to further argue for the removal of the chief prosecutor, Billy Nell, from the case. Do you think there's any weight to this particular aspect of the defence's case?
That special plea has no merit at all. Remember, their argument is that Advocate Billy Downer has no title to prosecute. And we'll counter that vigorously by arguing that he was designated to prosecute this matter by the Director of Public Prosecutions in KwaZulu-Natal. And with regards to their allegations that there was political interference, that matter was ventilated by the Supreme Court of Appeal, and it made pronouncements on the matter. That's why the charges were reinstated.
Apologies on the name. Of course, it is Billy Downer. It was just written as Billy Nell, throwing us off a little bit here. So the NPA opposing this postponement application. Obviously, are you ready to go ahead? I mean, have plans been made? Because there is this argument that, you know, most of the team are in Gauteng, can't get down to Pietermaritzburg, and the case usually does bring about large crowds, and that's of course what the Zuma team is arguing right now, that a lot of people tend to gather for this, and a lot of people are based in Gauteng, can't get out to Pietermaritzburg. But surely at the end of the day, I mean, it is allowed to take place online, and that shouldn't make too much of a difference, or does it?
It should, and that's why I said earlier, legally, this is permissible, and we consider it to be a delaying tactic on their part, because arrangements have been made for Mr. Zuma through auto-visual link to have access to his lawyers, and will be made to understand that officials have made it possible for them to even consult with him. So he will be part of the proceedings. We don't know why they are opposing this.
Again, one of the things that has been said is that Zuma has insisted he should be acquitted of corruption because the NPA is too biased to prosecute him. What is your response to that?
Our response is that there is no substance to that allegation, because the Supreme Court of Appeal ventilated that issue a long time ago. That's why it ordered that the charges be reinstated. That's why we are where we are today.
So no truth whatsoever, in your opinion, that the NPA is biased against the former president and that he will not be granted a fair and free trial?
That allegation has no substance. That assertion has no merit. It is frivolous. It is just another delaying tactic on their part. There will be a fair administration of justice, and Mr. Zuma will have a fair trial before the court.
Well, the opposite has been said from the other side, also from Zuma's team, saying that the state has dragged its feet on this particular trial. Is the NPA ready to proceed this time?
We are ready to proceed. We had our witnesses lined up. We know it's been quite a protracted process with a lot of interlocutory applications being made, but we are set to go.
The legal team of the accused has also expressed reservation of this virtual sitting. I know we've spoken to it, but let's dwell on this a little bit now. Does this prejudice the former president in any way, having a virtual sitting, as opposed to being there and actually having an in-person trial?
We are informed by officials from correctional services that they've had an opportunity to consult with him, and we are told that there is auto-visual link which will enable Mr. Zuma to be part of the hearing. He will participate in the hearings, and besides, these are oral arguments from the attorneys. There's no active participation on his part.
So, I mean, Zuma has insisted on more than one occasion that he should be acquitted on the basis of his so-called special plea. And I know we've addressed this, but this is at the heart of everything that's being argued right now, that the entire NPA is unable to prosecute him for the alleged arms deal corruption because of its alleged bias and lack of independence. He's also threatened that should the High Court not do the right thing, he will then not cooperate with a criminal trial that's going on. Where to for you then as the NPA?
Remember that his argument is that Mr. Downer has no title to prosecute. If that is the case, we will argue that that special plea is be dismissed because it has no merit, because he is designated, therefore he has a title. However, there are other two prosecutors against whom no such argument has been made. So it is impossible that he would be acquitted because there will be other prosecutors that are designated to prosecute the matter. In any event, the issue of political interference and bias was ventilated by the Supreme Court of Appeal. It was pronounced upon. Hence, now the charges have been reinstated.
In terms of facilities at the Escort prison, are there the facilities? Because I know that was a big thing. Do they have the facilities for the former president to follow virtually and be present there?
We've been assured by officials that arrangements have been made for Mr. Zuma to be part of the hearing virtually.
So what happens when the trial resumes this morning? Is it now just the whole talk as to whether this goes ahead or there will be a postponement? Is that pretty much so what we can expect going for as soon as we open today?
We can expect a substantive application by Mr. Zuma's lawyers for a postponement, which should be vigorously opposed by the prosecution.
Yeah.
And then the judge would make a determination.
Yeah. And then just finally, in terms of, you were saying that you have your witnesses lined up. Which witnesses do we expect to hear from going forward, if in fact this does go ahead today?
I cannot list the name of the witnesses publicly at this stage, but Mr. Zuma's lawyers have a list of those witnesses. And one of the witnesses that was in court was the Minister of Public Works, Ms. Patricia De Lille, who was in court and ready to testify.
Yeah, we do know that the minister did have a case of COVID, and this was a while back. We're not obviously too sure what her status is right now, but is she, as far as you know, ready to go ahead and be a part of this?
As far as we know, she is ready to proceed and participate and testify, and other witnesses that we've lined up are also ready to testify. So the state is ready to proceed with the matter as and when the judge makes that determination.
All right, well, that's what we can expect from today. Advocate, thanks very much for talking to us. That's Advocate Mthunzi Mhaga, spokesperson for the National Prosecuting Authority, saying that they are ready to proceed, that as soon as everything starts today, it resumes, they have everything in order to ensure that they can, in fact, get this going. But they suspect, obviously, that it will be dominated today by the talk of a postponement from Zuma's side. So we'll see if that, in fact, does go ahead, but their witnesses are ready to begin, and the NPA say that they will not be following and wanting this delay to take place. They want this to in fact start. So let's see what happens. That's the big story this morning. We'll have to wait and see what happens. All right, let's take a quick break.